This is a Louie T Network exclusive.
Hey, either you're outside or you're
in the lab room.
Draft Zone.
Who else could it be? Me! You're me! Louie T, welcome. You are in the lab room, of course. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me on the 2016 NFL Draft Wrap-Up Series, where I aim to break down all 32 teams in the National Football League. And so we'll use our baseball grading scale, single, double, triple, home run. There are no strikeouts here in the Draft Wrap-Up Series, as we cannot tell how these players are going to pan out. And I don't want to discount any of these young men before they get their chance in the National Football League. And so we're going to take each and every single player in said team's draft, give them a particular score with that baseball grading scale, get an aggregate by adding all of the players up, then dividing by the number of picks, giving that team a final overall grade for their draft, and then moving on to the next team in the series, picked by who else but you, the viewer out there watching, is in control of the next team up in the series, as this is the up format or the you pick format. You, the viewers, are in total control by simply being the first, not the second, not the third, not the fourth, not the fifth, not the 15th, not the 20th. Oh, please do my team. No, be the first to leave a comment. That means if you need to subscribe, you better subscribe, you better sub up, and I upload, you get that notification. So you better go ahead, turn them notifications on, sub up, and be ready so your team could be up next in the series. By simply being the first to leave a comment in the comment section of this and future videos in the series, stating two things: the team you want to see next and the phrase next. And I don't care how you word it, Giants got next, Big Blue next. I don't care. As long as that team's name and the phrase next is in the comment section of your first, that team will be up in the series. Sound easy enough? That's because it is. So let's get to the next team up in the process. I just mentioned their name, so let's talk about the New York Football Giants, Big Blue, and their 2016 NFL Draft. This is a big one for GM Jerry Reese. You want to keep your job, bruh? You need to start making some moves in the draft. Let's talk about what he was able to accomplish in the 2016 draft for the New York Giants, starting now in the first round. 10th overall selection, Ohio State, the Ohio State University cornerback Eli Apple was the selection. And I'm not going to break them down. I've done that already in the Draft Prospects 101 series. But what I will say about this pick was that I felt like the Giants had a gun to their head. And this is something that you won't see. I won't release this video. I did a video and I got all excited about it. And then in the production phase, I just said, yeah, this is not something that they really care to hear about. So you'll never hear this, but this is part of the lost tapes. But this is what I have to say about the Giants draft. Take a listen.
Because of the failed trade with the Cowboys and the shocking development with the Tunzel situation, the Ravens must now settle at number 6. No Tunzel, no Ramsey forces the Ravens to draft Notre Dame's tackle Ronnie Stanley, which sets off a chain of events that would shape the top 10 of the draft. Now that Laramie Tunzel is damaged goods and Ronnie Stanley is gone to the Ravens at 6, the Tennessee Titans feel threatened and trade into the top 10 to number 8 with the Cleveland Browns in front of the New York Football Giants to draft the last of the perceived top 10 tackles in this draft in Michigan State's Jack Conklin. Also, because the Cowboys don't trade back from 4 to 6 with the Baltimore Ravens, the Bears can't get their hands on Jalen Ramsey or Ezekiel Elliott. And because of this fact, the Bears go to plan C out of necessity. Trade up to number 9 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, leapfrogging the New York Football Giants the second team to have done so in the top 10 in order to select Georgia's outside linebacker / inside linebacker / defensive end / whatever you want to call him, Leonard Floyd. Never, ever trust a man with 2 first names. Leaving the Giants in between the proverbial rock and a hard place. Thus, forcing the G-Men to make what I perceived as the first TD or tough decision of the 2016 NFL Draft. Now the Giants, who have been stripped of all of their options, no Stanley, no Conklin, no Elliott, and now no Floyd, must exhaust their last option in Ohio State University, the Ohio State University cornerback, Eli Apple.
So I felt like the Giants had a gun to their head at 10. Jerry Reese was in a really tough spot because you have a situation where the Buccaneers trade out of 9, allow the Bears to come up and get Leonard Floyd. I think that was a guy that the Giants had on their radar. Ezekiel Elliott, a guy they would have loved to have taken at 10, no longer there, and probably wasn't going to be there anyway, but you had your hopes. You could only hope that he would have been there at 10 for you. He's gone. So then you look at a situation where all the tackles are gone. The Titans come all the way from 15 down to 8 to get Jack Conklin. Ronnie Stanley's gone, and you can't touch Laramie Tunsil with a 10-foot pole at this point, with the video being released, and that New York media would have eaten that alive. You don't want any guys that could potentially get you fired if you're Jerry Reese at 10. You need to hit a home run essentially in the first round. And so you can't mortgage your future on a guy that could potentially be a nightmare from a PR standpoint and from just being able to stay on the field. We've seen Randy Gregory and his transgressions and what has netted the Cowboys and netted him over the last year and a half. So you just don't want to go down that road. So what do you do when option A, B, and C have all been exhausted and you're at the 10th pick in the draft? You take option D, none of the above, and take Eli Apple. And this is a guy that I think has a lot of skills, but I don't see playmaker written all over him. He's tall, he's long, he's fast, he's athletic, but I don't see a guy that goes after the football. I don't see a guy that has a knack for making plays. I don't see a guy that jumps off the screen at me as a lockdown defender. I just see a guy that's another piece to the puzzle at the cornerback position. You went out and got Janoris Jenkins. You still got DRC. You can never have enough corners in this league. You can never have enough pass rushers. Cornerback is another one of those positions you can never have too much of. But I wasn't a huge Eli Apple guy coming into the draft, and I definitely wasn't an Eli Apple fan at 10. And so in the first round, 10th overall selection, cornerback Eli Apple for me is a triple. I wasn't enamored by this pick, and I felt like Jerry Reese didn't make this pick because he wanted to make this pick. He made this pick because he had to make this pick. He didn't have many other options afforded to him. The defensive end he wanted was gone. You got a guy like the Clemson defensive end, Shaq Lawson, who maybe could have been on your board. He needs shoulder surgery. So even a guy like that could have potentially been on your radar, you can't take him because he needs shoulder surgery. So you ran out of options. No defensive ends that you like, no tackles that you would like to take at 10. You just look around and you say, what am I supposed to do here? No running back here, no Ezekiel Elliott. You just take the next best thing, and that's Eli Apple, which to me was a reach. But you did that at 10. It's a triple for the Giants in the first round. You go to the second round, 40th overall selection, Oklahoma wide receiver Sterling Shepard to me is the pick, and my goodness, I love this pick. If I wasn't in love with the Eli Apple pick in the first round, I'm definitely madly in love with this pick in the second round. Now, I will say this. I looked at the two guys that were on the board at the time and asked the question, why not the other guy? Okay, Michael Thomas, Ohio State, the Ohio State University wide receiver, was sitting there, and I felt like Odell Beckham, Victor Cruz. You got Victor Cruz. Do you have Victor Cruz? I mean, Victor said, this is the healthiest I've been since like 2012, okay? It's been a while since Victor's been healthy, but I looked around and I said, you got Victor Cruz. You got shame on you when you step to the old dirty Beckham. You got ODB, and I'm like, you just need a big boy, man. You just need a big boy in between the two small guys. and this could be nasty out there in New York. And then you went and got another small guy. So I'm like, okay, so you got 5'11", like 5'9", and then like 5'10". And I'm like, what's up with that? But look, I know what this was for. You said, I don't know if Victor Cruz is ever gonna be Victor Cruz. You don't know if Victor Cruz will ever be Victor Cruz again. Like, I get it. I understand. You can't mortgage your future on Victor Cruz coming back healthy because you've seen him let you down time after time after time the last couple of years. And you even say, all right, Vic, you got to take a pay cut or you got to go. And Vic said, look, I'm willing to take the pay cut because I want to stay. I want to prove myself. So we'll see what happens with Victor Cruz. But this guy, and I've already broken him down in the Draft Prospects one-on-one series, so I'm not going to do it here. This guy here, Sterling Shepard, is the equivalent of Steve Smith Sr. He's competitive, he's feisty, he fights for the football, he does everything, he blocks, he does everything you want a wide receiver to do. He's just 5'10", 5'11". At the end of the day, I don't give a damn. The man is a hell of a football player. I'm madly in love with his skill set and what he brings to the table. And so I said, damn, the Giants, they hit it out of the park there. In the second round, 40th overall selection, wide receiver out of Oklahoma, Sterling Shepard is hit hard. He's hit deep. You can put it on the board. Yes, it's a home run for the New York Football Giants in the second round with wide receiver Sterling Shepard. Eli Manning just got a guy that's gonna win his one-on-one matchups 95% of the time. He's gonna win immediately. And we know in that Ben McAdoo offense where the ball comes out really quick, it always helps when you have guys that can win really quick. And that is exactly what Sterling Shepard does on a regular basis. He wins, breaks down defenders, gets open, and catches the football and makes plays. Go to the third round, 71st pick overall. Boise State safety, Darian Thompson is the pick. And again, another one of these guys I broke down in the Draft Prospects 101 series, so not going to break him down, but I also love this pick for the Giants. And this is another one of those, damn, this is a really good fit because you got Landon Collins last year, who is more of a physical, in-your-face, in-the-box safety that will come down, drop the hammer on you. And he can play away from the line of scrimmage. Saw him do some impressive things away from the line of scrimmage, but where he's at home, where he's comfortable, where you can get him a blanket and a pillow and say, hey man, make yourself at home, take your shoes off, put your feet up on the coffee table, is right in that box. Down inside the box, in close to the line of scrimmage, in those hook zones, in that flat zone, out there in the flats, hitting guys around the line of scrimmage, being that 8th defender in the box. He's comfortable doing that. So what do? You go get a guy that complements him, a guy that's not great at all of those things, a guy that you put 30, 25 yards away from the line of scrimmage and say, hey, keep eyes on the quarterback, go make a play on the football, go get me the football for my offense. And that's what Darian Thompson does. To me, a perfect yin and yang complement to what you already have in Landon Collins, a guy that's going to be a ball-hawking free safety. That's Darian Thompson for me. A guy that's going to make some plays on the football, turn the other team over, give more opportunities to your offense. And yes, he can hit. And yes, he may not be the best tackling safety in this draft class, but he does an effective enough job of getting guys on the ground. And so I love this selection for the Giants in the third round, 71st overall selection. Boise State safety for me. Darian Thompson is a triple. Really good selection here for the Giants. I really like what they did in the first 2 out of their 3 picks. Wasn't in love with the Eli Apple pick, but again, when you got a gun to your head and you don't have many options, what is a guy supposed to do? So really good start to the Giants draft as we move on to the 4th round. 109th pick overall. Clemson linebacker B.J. Goodson is the selection. 6'1", 242-pound linebacker. Flows well to the football, is the first pro. And watching him on tape, that was one of the first things. There were 2 things that really jumped out at me. His physicality. This guy's physical. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on. But him just getting to the football, him just getting to the ball carrier, him sorting through the garbage, him finding a way to get through the trash and get to the guy with the football and get to him and get him on the ground. Now, not always getting him on the ground, but it's not always about making the tackle as much as it is just being a disruptor sometimes. If you can get to a guy, you got friends, you got help coming, and you get to a ball carrier, you make him stutter, you make him stop his feet, and you're able to get your hands on him. You maybe not get him on the ground, but you make him stumble. Next thing you know, he's out of bounds. Or next thing you know, you got a teammate coming to clean him up for a 2-yard loss. You've done your job. You were a disruptive force on the play, and I see that out of B.J. Goodson quite often. Takes good pursuit angles to the football. Again, not the greatest athlete in the world. So when you're not a great athlete, what do you need to do to maximize your abilities? You need to do all of the other things really well. And to me, at the linebacker position, one of the most underrated qualities and traits that a linebacker can have is taking great pursuit angles. If you got pure speed, guess what? You can take the worst angle in the world and still get to a ball carrier. But what happens when you don't have 4.47 speed? When you're not Darren Lee? What happens when you're not Ryan Shazier and you're running a 4.37 40? All right? What happens when you're not Deion Jones and you're not running at 4.38? Guess what? You need to take proper pursuit angles to the football or else you're going to get smoked. And so B.J. Goodson says, hey, look, man, I know my role and I know it well, okay? And I know how to play the game. And I'm going to take this proper pursuit angle. I'm going to loop around here. I'm going to take this nice angle and I'm going to meet up with that running back right over there and I'm going to push him out of bounds. I'm going to get him down on the ground. So he takes good pursuit angles, and that to me is very underrated because I see a lot of guys taking bad angles. Next thing you know, they're trailing and that guy's out of the back door. Guess who they saw? That's the running back with the football gone for a 60-yard touchdown because you took a bad angle to the football. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. BJ, good thing for you, B.J. Goodson isn't that guy. Takes on blockers aggressively. Remember I talked about his physicality standing out on tape when I watched him? Well, this is what I'm talking about. He doesn't stand up at the point of attack. He is aggressive at the point of attack. He takes on blockers and throws guys to the ground. He forcefully meets blockers head on at the point of contact. He disengages because of the aggression that he comes up to that offensive lineman or tight end. I was watching him in the Florida State game, and they tried to block him with a tight end. Man, he took that tight end and threw his ass on him. Get your ass off of me, man. What's wrong with you? You think you're going to block me one-on-one? You crazy? Got to be crazy. Threw him on the ground, got to the ball carrier. I said, damn. Really? I had to rewind it back because I'm like, was that a lot? I had to make sure it wasn't the offensive lineman. Then I might have ished myself if that was the offense. No, I was a tight end. Okay, I said, okay. That's still pretty impressive, but I get it now. It was a tight end, but still. Throwing dudes around like that, like ragdolls, that's impressive. Watched him against Notre Dame, same thing. I think they sent a fullback at him, threw that guy right to the side, disengaged, pushed him away, got to the ball carrier. That's what B.J. Goodson does. Avoids blockers. So not only can he take on blockers, he can also avoid blockers. And again, I talked about him flowing to the football as his first pro. This is another one of those pros. That's how he flows to the football so well. He can avoid blockers, get to the ball carrier, get through the trash, get to the football. And that's a very, very instinctive trait that a lot of guys lack at the National Football League level. He tackles well, 108 tackles for that Clemson defense and led the way for them. And again, you don't get 100 tackles by accident. You get 100 tackles by getting to the football, by taking on blockers, by stacking and shedding, by avoiding the garbage, flowing to the football, getting guys on the ground, and that's what B.J. Goodson did for them. Effective blitzer. He's a guy that will blitz, will hit home when he blitzes. Watch him against Florida State. Florida State inside the red zone, inside the 10-yard line, and they run a running play. And B.J. Goodson blitzes right up the A-gap. And before the guard or center could even lay a finger on him, he's already in the backfield. Fullback is there. He cuts down B.J. Goodson at his knees, chops him down. B.J. Goodson reaches out, grabs the running back before he can even get going, tackles him for a 2-yard loss in the backfield. He's an effective blitzer, can hit home, can also go after the quarterback when blitzing. So very effective blitzer, whether he's run blitzing or blitzing to try to get pressure on the quarterback. He can do both equally well. He drops into coverage too, and that's the final pro you'll get with B.J. Goodson. He's a guy that can drop into coverage, and I think the most impressive play I saw him make in coverage was against Notre Dame. Late in that ball game, Notre Dame on the comeback trail looking to steal one from Clemson in Death Valley late in a very sloppy, nasty, wet night. And late in that ball game, he gets Deshaun Kaiser to throw him the football. He's in coverage. Deshaun Kaiser needed to put that football out more in front of his receiver. Doesn't matter though. B.J. Goodson dropping in coverage, comes underneath the route, dives, picks the football off. Great play late in the game to help Clemson preserve that victory. Now Notre Dame did, of course, later on did drive down the field, the length of the field, get it in the end zone, but could not convert on the 2-point conversion to tie the game. But that was a huge play in the game, late in that ball game, to help Clemson hold on and win. So he can drop into coverage as well. Cons, poor front side gap discipline. And that's the thing that drove me nuts with B.J. Goodson. And 2 plays stick out like a sore thumb for me. You turn on the Florida State game, the first play of the game. Dalvin Cook out of the back door, and it's easy as day to see who made the mistake. It's B.J. Goodson. He takes, and the biggest problem that he makes, especially on these run plays, is his first steps are towards the line of scrimmage. And what happens when you take steps towards the line of scrimmage without knowing what's coming is you can get caught up in the wash. And when you get caught up in the wash and get stuck in the mud around a bunch of trash and you can't get out, guess what? You're not there to fill the gap that you're supposed to be able to fill. You're not keeping gap integrity. You're not filling into your run fits correctly. And when you get explosive runners like Dalvin Cook, who can hit that hole and make you pay, next thing you know, it's a 66-yard touchdown on the first run of the game, and it's 7-0, and you're already down. And so that was something that drove me nuts. Then I watched another game, national championship game. Derrick Henry gets it going, and they were stopping him early in the ball game, but here comes B.J. Goodson coming up, taking a couple of false steps towards the line of scrimmage, not being in his gap on the front side of a play. Derrick Henry stretches it outside, sticks that foot in the ground, cuts it up. Where's B.J. Goodson? Calling B.J. Goodson, he's stuck in the mud, in the trash, in the middle of the field because he took a couple of false steps up to the line of scrimmage. And what do you know? Derrick Henry off to the races, 37-yard touchdown, Gallup 45 yards, whatever it was, 7-0, Alabama on top in the football game, 7-3 or whatever it was. So just like that, 2 big runs, B.J. Goodson not filling his front side gap correctly, giving up huge runs. So that's something he's going to have to clean up at the next level. He's a headhunter. That's the next con. Tackles very high. In that national championship game, he gets a face mask penalty on Derrick Henry. He's all up here. I've seen a couple of times where I can see him missing at the next level against Florida State. He goes to tackle a guy, and he grabs him all up here by his neck, and the guy ducks down, ends up falling down on the ground, but could have easily missed the tackle. He's going to get some face mask penalties. He's going to miss some tackles. He's going to whiff because he's not taking the right approach and wrapping up down here at the waist. He should be aiming for the chest, the waist, and he's all up here in the head space, and he's going to either get a face mask penalty, a horse collar penalty, or he's going to miss the tackle. He headhunts a lot, and I could see that being a problem for him at the next level. He can be over-aggressive, and I kind of spoke to that with him taking some false steps up towards the line of scrimmage on some of these run plays and not being able to get to his gap and have that front side gap discipline. Look, at the end of the day, I've said this before, I'll say it again, give me the guy that's over-aggressive. Give me the guy that I got to beat with a stick to calm down. Don't give me the guy that I got to beat with a stick to wake up, okay? Give me the dude that's over-aggressive. I can reel him in. I can cast that line out, and I can reel his ass in. Don't give me the guy that I got to wake up and I got to slap him a bunch of times, because I always say this, and I know this firsthand. Sleep waits for no man, okay? I don't give a damn who you are and how long you've been up. If sleep hits you, you're done right there on the spot. Sleep doesn't care, it waits for nobody. And so you can't wake up a sleepy defender, man. It's very hard to do. Give me the dude that's over-aggressive. I can tame that guy. I can get him to play within my scheme. He's over-aggressive. He'll overcommit. You can get him to bite on play action fake. You can get him to take a couple of false steps up to the line of scrimmage and get your running back out of the front side of a play because he's not there. But again, I can coach that out of him. Give me the guy that's aggressive, that wants to get into the play and make something happen. And that's what he is. So I'm willing to overlook that last con if you are. But B.J. Goodson for me is something that the Giants haven't had in quite some time. They got a little bit out of John Beeson, but that was in the twilight years of his career. This guy can come in and really help the Giants at a position of need. They need help at linebacker. They've been looking for help. They've gotten some help over the last couple of years with some guys in the draft. And so, you see some of the talent starting to come to the forefront at the linebacker position. I think B.J. Goodson might be the missing link that they need at the linebacker position. In the 4th round, 109th pick overall, B.J. Goodson, linebacker out of Clemson, for me is a double. I wanted to get this guy a triple so bad. And, I argued with myself back and forth, triple, double, which one is he? I went with double just because I want to see how he fits into what the Giants do. I want to see how he comes in and acclimates himself at the next level, because there are much more explosive athletes in the NFL. He's not the most athletically gifted guy, but he's a football player, and I do respect that. So I want to see if he comes in and continues to be a hell of a football player, if he's able to correct some of these things that drive me nuts. You can't give up 60-yard chunk plays in the NFL. You're not going to win games like that. You can't have poor front side gap discipline in the NFL and not expect to give up huge plays and give up potentially wins in this league. The difference between a win and a loss is giving up a 60-yard run for a touchdown in the first quarter that comes back to bite you in a 20-17 loss. You don't give up that 60-yard touchdown run, you might win the football game. So again, that's not the only play in the game, but those are the type of plays you want to eliminate. And I think B.J. Goodson, if he can eliminate those kinds of mistakes out of his game, I think this guy could be a big-time get for the Giants in the 4th round. You go to the 5th round for the Giants, 149th pick overall, UCLA running back Paul Perkins. P squared is the selection. I'm not going to break them down. I already did that in the Draft Prospects 101 series. So if you want to see a thorough analysis of Paul Perkins and what he brings to the table, go and check out that video. But what I will say is I absolutely love this pick for the New York Giants, and it won't be long before this is your starting running back. I like what you have. I don't love anything you have in your backfield right now until now. Okay, Paul Perkins may not start week 1, may not start week 4, but give him some time. They're going to figure out very quickly that he's the best back you got. And I'm going to see this guy. No, he's not the biggest back in the world, but I don't care. This guy can shoulder the load, and you got other guys around that can carry the football. And so he'll be able to share the load with those guys. But I think when it's all said and done, you're going to figure out that this guy has some quicks. He has some things that these other backs in your backfield simply do not have. And you either have it or you don't. The vision, the balance, the agility, the quickness, it's all on display. Paul Perkins, to me, is tremendous value in the 5th round. Had no business being there. And for the Giants to be able to unearth a gem like Paul Perkins in the 5th round, borderline stealing is what it is. In the 5th round, 149th pick overall. Paul Perkins, UCLA running back, for me is another triple. I thought the Giants absolutely killed it right there with that selection. And not to mention some of the picks earlier in the draft that I really liked. I felt like this draft has been really good thus far, and they capped it off with another nice selection in the 6th round. Let's jump into that. 184th overall selection. South Carolina tight end Jarrell Adams is the selection. 6'5", 247-pound tight end. Great length. When I talk about a guy being 6'5", you know right off the bat, you already know that this guy's got great length, okay? Long arms, long legs, can extend, huge catch radius, a lot of things that he brings to the table. Speaking of which, that's the next pro. Tremendous catch radius. This guy is all arms and legs. I mean, this guy is a long and absolutely gives Eli Manning what he's been missing at the tight end position. I thought that you got some good stuff out of Will Tye. Will Tye's like 6'3", okay? Will Tye has short arms. Will Tye is okay, but it was much better when you had Martellus Bennett, okay? Eli Manning was in heaven when you could actually get your other tight end that got injured last year, and I forget his name, but when he's actually healthy and not dropping the football, he was a problem, okay? Used to kill the Redskins all the time. Used to kill the Cowboys. He was a problem. And I think Jarrell Adams could be a better version of what he was when he was healthy. So Eli Manning right now potentially could be getting a long, big target for him to throw the football to. And we know for years, Eli Manning has loved the tight end position and loved throwing the football to them. So this is a guy that I think can come in and really help bolster this Giants offensive attack. Big mix. again, another strong quality here with a 6'5" long arm receiver is a guy that can catch the football with huge hands, and Jarrell Adams at that tight end position can reach out and snag the football with some really big hands, can catch it in traffic. Watching different games and watching him catch the football over the field on some short underneath routes, down the field on some seam routes, taking some contact, bouncing off of guys, getting into the end zone. He can catch the football in traffic. Really good athlete is next pro. 4'6", 40. I thought that 40 alone, coupled with a lot of what I saw on the tape, was going to get this guy selected much earlier than the 6th round. So I think there's some questions that some teams may have about his ability to make plays down the field. And I've got some issues with him that I'll talk about a little bit later on, but I didn't think it was enough to get him pushed all the way down to the 6th round. So again, I think this is pretty good value for the Giants here in the 6th round. Rack and yak, yards after contact. He bounces off of some defenders. It's physical when he catches the football. You go to that Missouri game, thought he made some guys miss, thought he ran through some contact. You look at the Kentucky game early in the season, catches the football 20 yards down the field, bounces off a defender, outruns another one, gets into the end zone. Huge play at the time to help them come back and steal one from Kentucky early in the season. So you get a lot of yards after contact with him. You get a lot of run after the catch. So a lot of rack, a lot of yak for Jarrell Adams. Versatile tight end, okay? You can line him up as a U, which is an extension of a wide receiver, essentially split out wide, split into the slot. Or you can line him up in the traditional Y formation as a tight end, tight to the line, where he can block or run that seam route, or run different route combinations, corner routes, and things of that nature from the traditional line of scrimmage position. So I think there's some versatility there. Unlike a lot of these college tight ends that you just split them out and they're not really adept at blocking, I think he can do a little bit of that. Speaking of which, he can block. Now, I wasn't blown away by his ability to block. I watched him in that Missouri game, wasn't really overly thrilled with what I saw. But then I watched him against Kentucky and I said, there are some things here that you can work with. This guy is willing to block, and I think he has some things that will allow him to be successful at the next level. He can get with a coach that can show him the finer points of blocking and how to use his base better and how to get down, because he's a long guy. If he can learn how to do those things, fine-tune some things in the run game as a blocker, I think you can have something there where he didn't have to come off the field on first or second down when the Giants are looking to run the football, but he can be a 3-down tight end for you. So really like that he has the potential to also be a solid blocker at the next level. You go to his cons. He's a build-up speed athlete. To me, when I watch him, he lumbers a little bit, man. He's a big guy, and because of that, he lumbers a little. He's not a smooth athlete. Like next year, and the crop of tight ends coming out, man, there are a bunch of smooth tight ends. I mean, silky smooth dudes. O.J. Howard, silky smooth tight end. The Ingram kid from Ole Miss, silky smooth. Bunch of tight ends next year. It's going to be tight end bliss next season. A lot of smooth tight ends. Jarrell Adams is not that. He is long, he is athletic, but he is not silky smooth. And so he's a build-up speed guy. He's not going to run that 4.64 that I talked about. He's not running that right off the line of scrimmage. He's got to get down the field and take some steps and build that speed up and get to top speed. And so he didn't come right out of the blocks running 4.6, 4.40. He's got to build up to that speed. Not the best route runner. That's the next con. Look, wasn't overly impressed with his route running ability. A lot of times he'd round some things off, and when he would be a target for a tight end or the quarterback underneath, he'd run a simple hook route over the middle of the field, and he's not open. Linebackers right there. Quarterback would roll out of the pocket, and instead of him making himself available, he just kind of like stand there and kind of, lounge around. And I'm like, hey, bro, go get open. Go make yourself available. Go help your quarterback out. And he kind of sitting around loitering a little bit. And I'm like, dude, go do something. So not the best route runner. Doesn't help extend the play very well. So those are things that I think he needs to also clean up. And to his point, to his credit, all right, and in his defense, the quarterbacking at South Carolina, especially this past year, was not good. The Nunez kid wasn't very good. Orth wasn't all that good. It was a mess from the word go, which is why Steve Spurrier said, to hell with this, I quit after like the third game of the season. Steve Spurrier said, I see where this is going. I don't have anything here. I'm done. I can't do this again. So in his defense, quarterbacking was not great this past season. And his final con, modest collegiate production. His most catch output was 28 in his entire career. So he's not a guy that lit it up in college, but that doesn't mean he's not going to come out and be an effective pro. I think the best is yet to come for Jarrell Adams. Again, he's got to come out, he's got to work, he's got to show the Giants that they made a good investment in the 6th round. But all the tools are there. He's long, he's athletic, he has good hands, he can catch the football, he can run after the catch. I think he can block as well. So I think the best is yet to come for him, but gonna have to show why the Giants made this selection in the 6th round and prove all these teams wrong that passed on him for 5 rounds. Show what they are missing and go out and be a big-time target for Eli Manning, because the Giants could definitely use some help at the tight end position. So that's Jarrell Adams in a nutshell. I look at what he brings to the table. I think this is a really good pick in the 6th round. I think Jarrell Adams, tight end out of South Carolina in the 6th round, is a double to round out this Giants draft, which was pretty impressive to say the least. Let's look at what the Giants were able to do here in the 1st round. Eli Apple is a triple for me. Wasn't blown away by the pick. Felt like the Giants had a gun to their head and had to make some sort of selection, and they did in Eli Apple. In the 2nd round, wide receiver out of Oklahoma, Sterling Shepard for me is a home run. Absolutely love that pick. Love it. I think he's one of the better receivers, most underrated receiver in this draft class. And I think he's going to go out and ball for Eli Manning in the New York Giants. 3rd round, Darian Thompson, safety out of Boise State, another triple. Absolutely love what he brings to the table. He's a playmaking safety that to me is going to fit very well with what you have back there at the safety position. You stick him back there, and now you've got a tandem of safeties where they complement each other. One is a physical thumper down in the box. The other could be a playmaker down 30, 40 yards past the line of scrimmage in the back half of your defense. You go to the 4th round, B.J. Goodson, linebacker out of Clemson, is a double. Really solid pick. I think he could easily be a triple. I argued back and forth with myself as to triple or double, and settled in on double. Some things that I think he needs to clean up to be a better, more efficient football player. But I think he's going to help the Giants at a position where they desperately could use some help. You go to the 5th round, Paul Perkins, absolutely great value and a steal in the 5th round. That's another triple for the Giants. Jerry Reese really knocked it out of the park there, getting a guy that I thought had 3rd, 4th round talent written all over him in the 5th round, that I think he's going to step in and day one be the best back in that Giants backfield when it's all said and done. And you've got a slew of guys that do different things. I think he's going to fit in very well. Shane Vereen's back there. And you've got other guys that can run the football. Williams has been okay, hasn't been great. I think Paul Perkins is going to be your lead dog when it's all said and done. And finally, in the 6th round, Jarrell Adams is a double tight end out of South Carolina. Big, long tight end that can make some plays in the pass game. Still has some things to work on, including blocking, but among other things. But I think he is a guy that can be a big target for Eli Manning in the passing game. So let's go ahead and add up what the Giants were able to do. Home run with Sterling Shepard, 4, couple of 3 triples in Eli Apple, Darian Thompson, and Paul Perkins, your running back. So that nets you a triples bonus. And then you wrap up the draft with 2 more doubles in B.J. Goodson and Jarrell Adams for a grand total of 26 picks by the Giants. A nice, complete, and concise draft divided by 6 gives you a 3.33 draft, bona fide triple for the Giants. Right now, that's one of the better scores that have been given out in the 2016 NFL Draft Wrap-Up Series. New York Giants really having a strong but very concise draft. That's the New York Giants in the 2016 NFL Draft Wrap-Up. That happens in the National Football League, whether big or small. We cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything. And now, the National Football League. Next team up is, you decide. See you next time.
There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie T, be sure to follow me on Twitter at InTheLabRoom, or you can like the Facebook page at In the Lab Room. That's In the Lab Room on Facebook and at In the Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.